Welcome to the Fran Snyder Podcast, where I talk to artists and music fans to explore how music connects us through great stories and experiences. Brought to you by the Listening Room Network. Today's guest, Ben and Kassie from My One and Only, coming from Nashville today. It looks like you're surrounded by beautiful trees. How are you doing?
We're doing good. Yeah, this is our back porch, so we're at home in Nashville, and it kind of does look like we're in the woods, but it's just our backyard. It's awesome.
Nice. Have you been spending a little more time there than usual?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, we would normally be on the road a lot right now, but being home, and actually we're sitting under like this gazebo that I built during the quarantine time, and so we've been spending a lot of time back here.
Nice. We should turn you guys into house concert hosts. That seems to be the thing now. Everybody's building gazebos so they can be ready just in case the pandemic stretches out longer.
It could work. We could put the artist up here and the crowd down there. It'd be like its own stage. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. I love it. So let's go back to the beginning. You guys are relatively new to our network. And I don't really know your story. How did you guys meet? Where are you from?
Yeah.
So Ben and I have been married for 11 years, and we met about 12 and a half years ago, maybe 13 years ago, at a small little suburb of Nashville called Antioch. And we met at a small church plant that was meeting in the cafeteria of a school. So there was literally only like 15, 20 people at most. And I was just visiting, and Ben was playing guitar in the praise and worship. And I came in and I was like, he is real cute. And I had to meet him. And then I was joking, and I told my girlfriend, I said, I'm going to marry him. And here we are.
That's right.
So forgive my ignorance. I've never heard of the term church plant.
It's just like a brand new church that doesn't have a building yet, and they just had started. So a pastor, I think, moved up from Alabama to start this church. They didn't have a building. They didn't have that many people, but they found this school to be able to host their services.
Yeah.
And so eventually they wanted to get a building and, have their own space. But actually that church isn't even around anymore. It dissipated.
It served its purpose.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So did you, I guess, Kassie, did you have a music career before you met? Did you get roped into his life, or, how did that work?
So I was a solo artist before we became a duo and before we even met. So I was doing country soul music, and I had moved to Nashville from Alabama at the young age of 19. And so I had just been pursuing my dreams of being a country artist. And then when I met Ben, he had also came to Nashville, but for audio engineer school. And so once we got together, we weren't a duo even at that point. We were just, he was playing guitar for me at my shows. And then we didn't even write together for the longest time, but we always did music together. Like, he did his thing, I did my thing, and we always sang on each other's stuff.
Got it. And so, Ben, did you go to Belmont? Is that what where you studied the audio engineering?
No, I went to a school called SAE, School of Audio Engineering. Very original title.
Yeah.
But it was here in Nashville, and it was like a 9-month program.
Got it.
There's somebody weed eating behind us.
I said, I don't think we should do this outside. I think it'll be loud.
You let us know if the weed eating's too bad.
It's all right. As long as it's not like hitting your beard with it, I think it will be okay.
My ADD is going crazy.
Yeah, I'm actually in my kitchen today because there's construction going on my street, and they're pounding the sidewalk. So
Nice.
It's just one of those days, one of those live stream adaptations.
We got birds too. The birds are adding to the ambiance in here. So.
Yeah, it's nice. I guess a good segue then would be into your recording process. I guess you were using outside studios for some time, but you've recently made made the transition into recording your own stuff. I've always found it to be a nightmare to engineer my own recordings.
Yeah.
How are you handling that?
So I went to the audio engineering school, and then I worked in a studio right out of school here in Nashville, and they did a lot of demo work, a lot of quick pastes, record 12 demo songs in one session, that type of thing. And it was a good experience for me. And then when we started kind of recording some stuff, it was your solo stuff was the first stuff that we recorded together. We would work in that studio sometimes and then do some of the process at our house. But the longer that we've been around, I guess, if you will, we've acquired our own studio at the house. And so we started recording and engineering our stuff at our house. And at first it is kind of stressful. Like you said, there's this different mindsets, wanting to be creative on one side, yet wanting to be technical on the other side. And so it was a struggle at first, but we kind of got in a cool groove where we engineered this stuff at our house and just kind of did like almost a very live feel of just us me playing guitar while we're doing vocals, recording that, and then adding stuff afterwards. Even adding drum stuff afterwards, which is a weird process to do drums later. But it really gave a kind of raw feel to it, kind of a real push and pull in the tempo, and just I just really like that process, and so it works out real well for us. And then I send it off to another producer to mix it, and I love it. I love the process.
Awesome. So this is a new process. You've done one record with this process so far, or?
We've been doing our new singles with that process. So there's probably 6 or 7 songs that we have doing that process. However, the record before that, 2 records before that, we did with another producer.
Yeah.
And he did everything. So we were just there to sing and record. So
got it. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I think this is an issue that needs to come up more and more. The idea of releasing singles instead of, or in addition to, doing albums. Just because it's getting harder and harder to sell physical product at gigs. Is this still a transition stage, or do you feel like the days of music on a hard platform, do you think that the days are numbered for that?
It's kind of hard to say. We've been toying around with the idea of, like I mentioned, just releasing singles right now, and the tentative plan is to do that for 5 singles, and then put them together with a few other songs on an actual album, but possibly not put it on a CD, possibly put it on an actual vinyl.
Yeah.
And maybe not have CDs for it. I think CDs, though we do sell them at our live shows, I think it's kind of time to transition out of them and to get people used to all the other streaming platforms.
If you are enjoying this podcast, can you pause for a moment to like, review, and subscribe? Please help the world discover our music community and the wonderful artists we support. Your feedback makes a difference. Ben, you're wearing the Share the Love shirt, and I see the outline of Africa. You guys want to tell me a little bit about your African travels? What inspired that? How many times you've been over there? Just give me the lowdown.
Yeah, so we started going to, or actually Cassie started going to Rwanda, Africa first. She went first on a music missions trip. That was back in 2012, I believe. And she was really, well, she can speak for it, but she was really affected by it. Just the situations that we'd seen, the level of poverty that she had seen over there, and just the meeting the different kids and orphans that she had met over there was really powerful to her. And mainly the organization that she went with goes to visit orphanages over there. And she was so affected by it that she came back to the States, and we actually went back 6 months later, both of us. Mm-hmm. and with the same organization. And it was a really powerful experience for me too, on so many levels. You know, I had never seen that kind of quality of living before. I had never experienced stuff like that on the other side of the world. And it was just something that kind of got in your soul, and you felt like it affected your priorities and the way that you thought which things were important in life anymore. I remember specifically coming back, and I was running sound at live venues at the time. And I had just gotten back from a trip to Rwanda and got back to work here in Nashville. And it was some kind of thing I was running sound for, where they were talking about the very technicalities of sound. You know, MP3s versus waves, and the different types of MP3s and how the qualities of them and encoding and all this stuff. And although that stuff needs to be talked about, I just remember thinking, man, there's people on the other side of the world that can't even get the food they need for the night. And here we are in America talking about stuff that people won't even hear the difference between a 192 and a 128 MP3. And, you know, not that stuff is not important or shouldn't be talked about.
Yeah, but it's perspective, right?
It changes your perspective on things. And we continued to go back to Rwanda, and we've been back about 7 times, leading trips with that organization, and then eventually just going by ourselves, not with the organization. We ended up we have a lot of friends over there, Rwandans and Americans that live over there in Rwanda. And so the last couple times we went to visit our sponsor kid, Kevine, who's over there.
And that's what this shirt is, that organization.
Yeah. Okay. And it's an organization called His Chase. And that's who we sponsor Kevine through. And we visited a lot of our friends over there, and also got to incorporate our music over there, not only in Rwanda, but also we tagged on a trip to Uganda.
Nice.
It's a longer story, but we met a guy, and he opened up an opportunity for us to play some pretty high production concerts in Uganda, in these smaller towns in northern Uganda. And it was a really difficult experience for us. I mean, logistically and everything, it was just really tough. But it was amazing. We were able to sing to thousands of Ugandan youth over there and speak into their lives. We did kind of in conjunction with youth conferences, kind of, where they would have Bible teachings or hygiene things or career courses and stuff like that. Yeah, it was experiences that I'll never forget.
Yeah. So Cassie, since you were the first one to go over there, did you feel like they prepared you well for that trip? I mean, it's, going to Africa, I think for most people is a pretty eye-opening and maybe daunting trip, where else do you have to go and take malaria pills before you go and get inoculated and all that? Was there a sense of dread as well as excitement, or was it just purely did they really have you psyched up to go?
When I was a little girl, it was always my dream to go to Africa. Was if I ever filled out any kind of paperwork that was what is your dream vacation? It's always been Africa. I had a pen pal when I was in 3rd grade that lived in Kenya. And I just remember arriving, and I thought one day I'm going to go and meet him and meet his family. And I don't know, I've always loved the idea. I've always wanted to go and see the animals. And it just always has been this yearning in my soul to go to Africa. And so when I quit my job and we decided to do music full-time, full-fledged, let's do it, an opportunity came about where a place that he was running sound at, the owner's girlfriend worked with this organization at the time, and it was called Go Be Love. And actually it was called Visiting Orphans back then. They changed the name. And she had told Ben, hey, I'm leading this team to Rwanda, Africa. It's a music mission trip. And he was like, that sounds like something my wife would love to do. And so it kind of happened so fast. It was surreal. So I met with her. I messaged her on Facebook, met with her that week, and just said, here's my credit card. Charge it. I don't know. I'll figure out how to pay for it later. I want to go. So I was really excited, but also if you know me, I kind of am scared of a lot of things. And so the fact that I would sign up and go halfway across the world by myself, not knowing anyone, was a crazy thing to do. And you have to get all these shots and, like you said, the malaria medicine. But I don't know. I just wanted to do it. And it was such a desire that I was just like, I said yes, because that's what I felt like I was supposed to do. I had no idea what I was getting into. I just remember, it's like 30 hours travel time to get there, as far as like flights, swapping flights, all this, layovers. I just remember getting there and getting on this bus where then we had to drive. Then we drive the 3 hours right away? No, we stay in the city. But just getting there and like seeing the culture and seeing everything, I just was so overwhelmed and like excited and just so many emotions. And then when we ended up going to the orphanage, I was just wrecked. And so the first orphanage that I went to, I met Kevine, who we now have sponsored for how many years? 6 years. But I don't know. There's no preparing you. I was scared, but at the same time, it wrecked me in the most amazing way. And as soon as I got home, I was planning to go back.
Yeah.
And we've been going back every year besides the past 2 years.
That's awesome. I don't know if you've met, do you know Aaron English?
No.
He's a singer-songwriter in our network, and he moved to Nashville a couple of years ago from Seattle. Super talented singer-songwriter, and he's done a lot of music trips to Africa. I don't think it's the same countries. I think it's more like the Nigeria side of stuff. But considering he's local, and I don't know, it's probably a cliche thing, but you guys have both been to Africa as musicians. It might be kind of fun just to trade stories and experiences.
Yeah. I mean,
so I'll put you in touch with him. He's super cool guy. So tell me about, I guess we'll finish off with, how this pandemic has affected you at home in terms of your touring. What are you guys doing with live streaming? Are you enjoying it? Are you finding your peace with it? Or are there some unexpected benefits from it that you're enjoying?
Man, this pandemic has been crazy, and we just kind of have made the most of it and just didn't let it get to us. And we just knew this is what it is, and we just have to make the most of it. So we started doing live streaming shows from our Facebook page. Once a week, we thought it would be fun to do kind of like, almost like Saturday Night Live. So we started a thing called Saturday Night Quarantine. And so we did our original set of music of stuff that we've written, but we also incorporated like skits and jokes and stand-up comedy. And I mean, it got pretty elaborate. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work just planning it all week long. And at first we were doing all the skits live. And so if there was any bubbles or mess ups, it is what it was. Yeah. But then about a month and a half later, we started pre-recording our skits and having them play at the beginning of our show and then, playing. Nice. But it was so much fun. And it just really showed us how creative we are in so many other facets. I mean, it's not just music. It's like all around. Like, I just love entertaining people and bringing a smile to people's face. And even if that's at the cost of me looking stupid, that's okay. If it made you smile when we're going through such a crappy year, so be it. But on our YouTube channel, we've uploaded our skits, and we did all kinds of fun skits. Like we did, I was Dolly Parton and Ben was James Corden, and we drove around in our car and did the carpool karaoke, and I have the wig, I have the blessings, everything. So that was really fun. And then we did one where we were Deborah and Griff, and we did home renovation to our own home, and we like busted things up, and it was awesome, and it was just so much fun. So that brought us a lot of joy, and also helped us to financially be able to make it through, because we had all of our tours had been canceled. So
Right.
there's a little bit of me telling that you can tell more too. Like,
It sounds like you have a natural segue. It's like, look, you just saw us destroy our kitchen counter. Now we have a GoFundMe for our new kitchen counter.
Yeah, right.
Yep. That's
the whole live stream, at first, probably for everybody it was kind of awkward. Singing in your room by yourself, kind of, to a phone.
Waiting for the applause. Oh.
But it really turned out to be like a really cool experience, looking at the comments and just kind of interacting with people live as it was happening and taking requests. And it was cool to see who tuned in every time, and to do it from your house. Musicians are always traveling and just weary from the road, but to just go in your house and do that, and to be able, some people to financially support you in that way was really awesome. It was such a blessing. It kept us afloat for sure. And we started doing, and by the way, you guys promoted one of those, one of our first ones. We appreciate you guys doing that.
Yeah.
But we just started doing a few more live streams lately, just because, it looks like the touring isn't going to happen like we want it to. So we want to give people the opportunity to hear, new stuff that's happening with us and new songs that we're writing and stuff like that. It's been fun.
Well, we're definitely optimistic for the spring and summer of next year. A lot of our hosts are building, structures in their backyards and trying to figure out how they're going to be resilient in the face of whatever's going on. So if we need to stay outdoors for an extended amount of time, hosts are making preparations to do that. So not all of them can do that, but it's really inspiring to see how many of them are just, okay, this is what we have to do. Just like you're adjusting, a lot of them, this is their passion. They're not going to let it go, and they're going to figure out a way to make it work. So, so I'm definitely optimistic for the spring and summer. We're seeing some booking activity on the website even now for those times. Awesome. So I'd say to, keep the chin up, keep the creativity up. It's great to get to know you guys a little bit, and I look forward to sharing your story on the site. So again, Ben and Kassie from My One and Only. I guess I should ask you, where did the name come from? Is it an obvious?
Yeah, I was going to say, we can't end this yet because the chainsaw just stopped. I'm ready to go. We can start over now.
All right, we'll start over. Okay. All right. Makeup. Yeah.
I will say, though, that earlier I was grilling some food over here, and there's a couple backyards back here, and there was literally somebody doing axe throwing in their backyard earlier. I mean, they had this whole target and board set up, and they were just throwing axes over their head. And I've never seen that before back here. It's just a weird day, I guess.
It's a weird day. Well, I was in my office, and they're cleaning the outside of the building, like they're scraping and sanding and repainting the outside of this 400 unit apartment complex. And I'm setting up for this live stream, and there's a guy chipping away at the outside of my window. I'm on the 5th floor. He's on a man lift going.
Nice.
And the guy behind him's got the pressure washer. Like, okay, this is not going to.
Yeah.
So
can't control that stuff.
I'm in my kitchen in front of the laundry room.
I would not have known that was a closet. Nice.
So anyway, it's great to meet you guys. We'll do this again.
We didn't answer the question.
Oh yeah, the name. Where did the name come from?
Oh yeah. Oh, so there's a couple of different things that it came from. Kassie and I were separate artists before, as we mentioned, and then we came together as one. So that was a part of the name. And then, us being married and being one for 12 years now, that's another one. And our faith is really important to us, the one God that we believe in. And so all those aspects kind of rolled into the name My One and Only, and that's why we chose that one.
Got it. Got it. Well, it's great to meet you. Thanks again for taking a little time today and suffering through the weed whackers nearby. I think we'll be able to make the audio work, but if not, we'll do it again.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much.
having
I
us.
appreciate you.
All right. Enjoy the weather, man. It looks beautiful there.
It is. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Fran Snyder Podcast. Please subscribe, like, or share to help your friends discover this community. Also, I'd love to hear from you with any feedback or suggestions you have. And if you'd like to learn more about house concerts and listening rooms around the world, please visit and join listeningroomnetwork.com. You can email me from there. See you next time on the Fran Snyder Podcast.